Welcome to African Films and Theatres on Bothakga TV. We do reviews about African films and content, and from now on we'll be uploading a review every single Thursday. Today we'll be doing a review for an award-winning short film. It has won a SAFTA for Best Short Film. It has also been awarded the Best Audience Film, and also it's screened at festivals such as the Lift Off Global Network, the SHNIT, which also was a winner for the Worldwide Short Film Festival 2019. It was the official selection of the Rapid Lion Film Festival and also a winner at the Rapid Lion Film Festival. So because this film won so many awards, firstly I thought it was always a full-length film because the trailer was amazing. And because I follow a lot of films around and what they're doing, I honestly just thought we have this full-length film that is coming very, very, very soon to South Africa, and I will get the opportunity to watch it. But due to the COVID and the pandemic, it is now available for streaming. So I watched it on Netflix, and I just found out that it's also available on Showmax. So if you have Showmax and you have Netflix, you can stream The Letter Reader. So The Letter Reader is directed and written by Sibusiso Kuzwayo, and the cast is Bahle Mashinini, who plays Siyabonga, Nomalanga Shabane, who plays Nobuhle, the late Andile Gumbi, who plays Menzi, Nokuthula Mazibuko, who plays Gogo, Muzi Vilakazi, who plays Muzi, Sibongimpilo Sikhosana, who plays the character of Ntombi, Thandeka Masango, who plays the character of Bahle, and Martin Ziqubu, who plays Mkhulu in the movie. So this movie is about a young boy who had to go to the rural areas and live there for a short while. This boy has abusive parents, and the parents are trying to sort things out. Well, I think the mom wanted to leave the husband, but we see this painful scene where Sia's grandmother is advising the mom that you need to begazela in a marriage, you need to stay strong, and no matter what happens in a marriage, that they're being abused, stay strong. Women have been staying in marriages. So they drop Sia off to go fix their marital issues and whatnot. So fine, Sia is just not having it. He's angry that he's left here. He's a Joburg boy. Why does he have to be in the rural KZN? And this movie is, let me backtrack a bit. This movie, the way it's shot in a time where there were literally no smartphones, no phones whatsoever. People relied on letters for communication. So maybe, I can't say, 19 something, maybe 1950s, maybe. I think let's take it there. Because just a lot of, people are using candles. It's just that type of setting. It's a rural setting. It's shot in a beautiful KZN. So fine, Sia is at the grandmother's house, not having it, and eventually the grandmother finds out that Sia can actually read. So he's reading in English. The grandmother is just surprised that her nephew can read, and I think maybe she got very excited because apparently the late husband, Sia's grandfather, was also able to read, and because they have a family shop in the rural area, they would always read letters for the villagers because most of the people in the village can't read. So fine, we see one day Sia being at the shop. He's helping people read letters. He's having the time of his life because he gets to have to read all the personal things that people are going through and sharing with their loved ones, and he's reading all those letters. And one day his life changes forever because Nobuhle walks into the store and this boy starts drooling. So Sia is a teenage boy. This boy starts drooling over Nobuhle. And you wonder who Nobuhle is? Nobuhle is actually Menzi's wife. Menzi left for Joburg and left Nobuhle in the rural areas. Nobuhle, a typical teenage rural woman who can't even read, can't even write, has never got the opportunity to get an education. So fine, she's there to do her groceries, and they tell her there's actually a letter for you, and then they ask Sia to read for her, and we see the shock on Sia's face, and you wonder what's happening now. Did Menzi die? And it turns out that Sia doesn't like what's been written in that letter, and also Sia's drooling over this woman. So Sia doesn't read what is actually in the letter. He just reads how he actually feels about this woman. He reads about how he actually feels about this woman. And then we see this woman just flattered, and because she thinks this letter and these words are from her husband. And before Menzi left, I don't think they were on good terms with their marriage, etc., etc. So fine, Sia is reading this letter, and then this lady takes the letter home. She's the happiest woman on earth, guys. You could just see she's the happiest. She even changes her dukes. Hey, she takes out her best threads, her best dresses. She just feels like the it girl, man. She feels like I am the it girl. I am the girl. Because of what Sia said, and because of what she's assuming is inside of the letter. And you then have Sia, who then starts, because Sia is in love with this woman who she has no business being in love with. He starts writing letters and pretending like those letters were written by Nobuhle's husband, Menzi. And Nobuhle, on every day with every letter, she begins to fall in love with her man. And initially, with that letter that I said, Sia didn't say the right things. It was just bad news from Menzi. Menzi actually didn't want her anymore. So fine, things go south for Menzi, and Menzi comes back. Menzi comes back. Sia's writing this woman letters and is clearly in love with her, but she has never told the truth. And we see this woman just happy to see Menzi come back in the villages. And Menzi's shocked because, according to Menzi, he's assuming that she has read the first letter. And because it's also a form, they just denied us seeing those events. And also it's a short form, so I guess we'll forgive them. And we just see Nobuhle accepting her husband with warm arms, and open arms rather. And they have their moment, and then eventually we see Sia's parents coming to fetch him. Before Sia leaves, that letter that he wrote for Nobuhle, pretending that it's from the husband. But at the last scenes is Sia giving Nobuhle that letter and saying, "This is from your husband." And I was intrigued. I wanted to find out what actually then happens. And because it's a short form, I'm hoping that this crew really expands this and they make sure that they turn it into a full-length form. I wish they received the funding and the resources. And what I would like to personally see in the full-length form, it would be lovely if Nobuhle could learn how to read and then eventually read that letter she saved. Because Sia did give her the letter, just that she can't read, so she doesn't know. According to her, she knows what Sia told her, not necessarily what's in the letter. And we'll see what the events happen. What happens to her marriage? She's in love with this man. She thinks things have been sorted. The man is just playing along because he's confused and he's not telling the truth. And then it would be lovely to also see Menzi and what he's doing in Joburg that leads him to writing that awful letter to his wife. And because Sia's parents are also abusive, it would be nice to also see how that abuse affects Sia, and I like how they were just they didn't sensationalize their story, and it wasn't very boring in a sense that it wasn't predictable. Because even with Sia, usually when you think about kids who are growing up in Joburg and who go back to the rural areas, they can only speak English, or can only articulate themselves in English and can only read English. So Sia being able to even read his home language, that was just a beautiful texture. The way they shot it, there's just a scene where it just shows this woman just washing their laundry in a river, how they they tell that story and how they painted that scene. And then you go, and one of the most beautiful scenes was Sia reading the letter to Nobuhle under this tree, and just the way they captured it, the way Nobuhle is just smiling at the thought of her husband writing these love letters for her. And just such moments are beautiful. There are heartbreaking moments. I mean, moments where the gogo is telling the wife to stay in a toxic marriage. Those break you, but you also realize stories do what? They reflect the events of every day. So we are hurt, but it's the reality, and women are being advised to stay in toxic marriages. So that is heartbreaking, but it's so beautiful. I mean, the way Bahle performs the character of Sia, it's beautiful to watch. And he's a teenager, he's like 15 years, so he's amazing. And just the way these actors are just offering choices, and just the way it's been written, I think it's lovely. I understand why it won awards. It's deserving of each and every single award it won. So please go watch it on Netflix, and also watch it on Showmax, and then come back and comment and tell me if you agree, if you love the film, what don't you like about it, what do you like about it. I'm not so sure if I can point out anything I didn't like about the film. Okay, let's be petty. Well, because it's the 1950s, I think they made a mistake of showing electrical poles. So somebody should have seen that. But I can't fault them. I'll just be a jealous person forced to fault them. But I loved the story. I think such stories are necessary, and I'm loving the films that we are doing. And before I forget, every single episode we do what we call a recommendation of the week. Please go watch Seriously Single. It's streaming on Netflix. It's premiering on the 31st of July. So please go and watch Seriously Single, and we will upload a review about it next week, Thursday. So every Thursday we are uploading a review. Thank you so much for watching African Films and Theaters on Bothakga TV.